3 days, and they were here 3 days, and they met with people, drove them around, and in 3 days, y'all gonna see what they came up with. And it was awesome. Mary, take it away.
Well, most of you know who I am. I'm with the Main Street program for the state, and it's been my pleasure to work in Fort Payne this last 3 years, really getting you guys off the ground and giving you a good foundation with our resource team, and then coming in and doing the market analysis. And now frosting your lovely cake, and you really have real cakes, which is kind of cool, with the branding. Everybody wants the branding. They're excited about the branding, kind of want it first, but it's so important that you take the time to understand who you are as an organization and who you are as a community through the market analysis and through the resource team. So this is the party that you get to have. You finally get to the fun, pretty stuff. And I'd like to introduce Ben Muldrow with Arnett Muldrow, and he'll take you through the process.
All right, how's everybody doing? Yeah. Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm really thrilled to share this with you guys tonight. As you've heard, it was an intense 3-day process. We get the privilege of doing this all over the country and working with communities. This is the 3rd state I've been in this week. It's kind of crazy. Catching a flight out tonight because my kids miss me. So, you know, it's a hectic pace, but I will tell you, and I was sharing with some folks earlier, driving in today, as I drove back into town, it just felt so comfortable. It felt like a place that I knew and a place that I was welcome. And that is one of the things that I think we really identified when we were here in the first trip. And I think that's one of the attributes that you all should be really proud of. Because you've got a lot of great things going here. And I'm hoping that you'll see some things that will excite you and see some tools that will help this community to tell its story. So I want to share this with you pretty quickly. The first thing that I always like to talk about is as we talk about and create a branding toolkit for a community, there really are 2 different things that exist at the same time. One is a destination brand, and then the other organizational identities. And up until this point, really people were using organizational identities to try to tell a community story. So we wanted to truly introduce a destination brand. And as you do that, there are 4 main elements that go into creating that branding toolkit. The first is defining a color palette. And believe it or not, just because you have mountains doesn't mean that you have to just use green and blue. You know, you can have a color palette that truly becomes yours. The second is typefaces. Selecting typefaces that you can use consistently to connect the dots. The third is a consistent message. Being able to tell your story in a way that stitches things together, but at the same time gives you the versatility to have the right message at the right time for the right audience. And then finally, a uniform approach to graphics. Whether that's telling a community story or whether it's tying together the events that go on in the community. So with that, what we started out by doing was we started looking at images and photos that we took throughout the community. And we landed on a color palette, and we wanted the color palette to be something that it was really nice and earth tone, but it could really be yours. So we landed, and I will say, colors never look exactly right on the screen, but when you eat the cake, you'll be able to tell what the colors look like because they're on the cake. But what we really did was we selected 2 different colors of green, 2 different colors of gold, a nice rich brown, and then also a light sky blue. And those elements give us the graphics and the colors that allow us to create that consistency. Then from there, we also selected a couple typefaces. And these typeface selections are really important to creating that continuity. So this primary typeface that we selected is a very bold, thick, what's called sans serif. Believe it or not, just because your community is attractive and or old doesn't mean you have to pick a old looking typeface. If you've ever seen the typeface Papyrus on most computers, that for some reason that's the go-to when things are old. You don't have to use that, believe it or not. What we actually wanted is we wanted something that was a little bit content neutral, so you can infuse your own personality into it. So we created that, or selected that primary typeface, clean, content neutral. It is kind of railroad period appropriate. And then we selected a script typeface as the accent. And you'll see as we go through the system how we use that accent typeface. Now, from there, we pull that together to be able to create what we just call a word type, just a uniform approach to saying your name. We had to make sure that we know how a community refers to themselves. Sometimes it's Fort Payne FT, period. Sometimes it's spelling it out. You want to be able to adopt a uniform approach to that. And the thing that we saw the most was everything being spelled out. Then as we start to talk about the message, there were things that we heard from you repeated over and over again. The mountains, the waterfalls, the caves, the music heritage, the Native American history, ingenuity, innovation, all those things that go into the attributes that you're excited about for the community. And what we tried to do was we tried to stitch all those together into what we call a brand statement. So we wrote this narrative, and I want to read that for you now. For nearly 250 years, people have been drawn to this incredible spot, nestled here in Wills Valley. The mountains that surround us create a comfortable shelter where we have learned to weave together a remarkable community with an intriguing history, abundant creativity, and amazing surroundings. That's never good. Tell you what we're going to do, because every word counts, right? Once known as Willacy, Fort Payne has served as the home of many who have used their creativity and ingenuity to change the world. In the 1820s, Sequoyah invented the only written dialect in North America with his 86-character Cherokee syllabary. Shortly thereafter, Fort Payne played the tragic role of one of the starting points of the Trail of Tears. In the 1880s, Fort Payne experienced a mining boom, which, though short-lived, is memorialized in our amazing stone railroad depot. In the early 1900s, our manufacturing industry exploded, earning the honor of the sock capital of the world. We invented the modern sock, and although that industry has changed, we are proud to still make traditional socks and trendy organic socks today. Through all these transitions, there's been a common thread that has tied us all together. We call it Mountain Harmony. We are the musicians and artists at heart. The songs of the mountains play concerts in our souls, and it is no wonder that this breathtaking inspiration that surrounds us has birthed such amazing talent. Through the decades, we have example after example of artists who share their gifts. And in the 1970s, 3 local boys of the group Alabama truly introduced the world to country music and made the Alabama name known around the globe. Fame didn't draw them away, but kept them loyal to their home. And that is the spirit that is alive today. You can see it in the buildings we're restoring in our historic downtown, hear it in the sounds of local musicians playing during boom days, feel it each time a rock climber rappels off and is able to soak in the deepest canyon east of the Mississippi, and taste it right downtown with locally grown produce at the farmer's market or the amazing flavors of our local restaurants. We invite you to get away. Come discover the place we call home, a place that isn't in the middle of nowhere, but is truly in the middle of somewhere else altogether. Enjoy the beauty of this place, feel the splendor of a slower pace, and discover Fort Payne. So with that narrative allows us to really stitch together all those things that we heard from you all. Those messages of the things that you felt like were important, and how do we talk about those attributes that we have and tie all those in together. And this this very, very important concept of owning who you are. As simple as Alabama's mountain town seems, nobody else is saying it. Literally, if you Google Alabama's mountain town with parentheses, nothing comes up. So there is a huge opportunity for you to take that and own it as you tell your story. Now, with a system like this, being able to have the tools to be able to have a simple, reproducible logo, being able to make sure that it works in one color, make sure that it works in black and white, but being able to take that same foundation and tie it into that organizational identity. Obviously, we're focused on Main Street, the role that it plays in the community. So what we did was we created a logo that represents that Main Street organization, introducing this tagline for the organization, tightly woven, perfect fit, and creating this simple interwoven icon that ties into that 4-point approach, allowing them to tell those 4 points of revitalization, design, promotion, economic vitality, and organization. So with that, we're able to focus in on giving those 4 committees an identity so people can understand not only what the organization does, but the ways that the community can get involved with it. Now, to me, where the system really starts to grow legs is when it starts to make its way into the events that go on in the community. So we took some that already existed, showing how you could use colors and that approach to graphics to create that continuity, but really kind of going through and using those elements to start to tie those ideas together. Sometimes using pre-existing graphics and implementing and integrating, and sometimes going out and finding brand new identities that you can use to really have new events. This Mountain Harmony Downtown Concert Series was something that we had come up with, just a way that you can teach people to come downtown. Now, you can't just stop there though. You've got to make sure that the identity makes its way throughout the public space. So we designed examples of what signage may look like in a comprehensive wayfinding system. Everything from gateway signs to district gateways, trailblazer signs, all the way through to comprehensive banner systems to help people understand what makes up the downtown district and being able to promote the community. Even designing things like billboards, collateral material. We designed different things like stationery and business cards for the organization. Even going through and creating a card that allows business owners to know when Main Street members stop by to check in on them, so that you can get that credibility of a true support network for the downtown business community. Brochures, shopping and dining guides, and collateral materials so that people can have things to show off the pride in where they are, where they live, and where they visited. So you can see the opportunity for that is endless. One of our big hopes is that this identity package actually is beneficial to the business community. One of the best partnerships that we see is when the private sector profits off of the pride that people have in place. So being able to make that toolkit available to the communities, and then also being able to tell that story through a standard and professional approach to marketing and advertising. So we created a template design to be able to tell the story, and you can have this dominant photo that interchanges, and you have this ability to talk about all the different things that this amazing community has to offer. And those were just some of the things that we were able to create over the 3 days that we were here. Now, one of the things that's exciting about this is these aren't just resources that get designed and then hidden away. They're truly resources that are available for you to use. As we speak, the Main Street organization has a comprehensive database of all of these resources that are available to share with a single web link. There's a style guide document that explains how to use these. All the logos you created are accessible. All the photos that we took are accessible. So we truly have created a toolkit that allows the community to tell the community story. And with that, I'm going to open it up for questions real quick, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mary.
Just so you all know, Ben has to kick out the door pretty quick about 5:25, 5:30 to make a flight back home so he can see his family this weekend. He hasn't been home all week. So we'll hang around longer, but Ben's got a boogie at about 5:25. So if you got questions for him, quickly ask those before he has to leave.
Yes, ma'am.
How does the style guide implementation work as far as what you guys have done in the past?
How does it work? What do you mean by that, though?
How has other cities implemented the style guide you created?
Oh, well, I mean, I think every community's implementation looks a little bit different. One of the biggest things that we talked about with the board earlier today is removing roadblocks so that you make the resources available. A lot of times what we see is we see a rolling launch where people who are most interested are requesting access to the resources, and then there's a little bit of oversight that takes place, but when truly trying to roll out a community brand, there needs to be far more focus on making resources available than on trying to regulate those resources. That's the main difference between community branding and corporate branding. So making those tools that are available in that package and giving ideas of how people might use them, knowing that the organization that is focusing on downtown is going to kind of be the primary, implementer, but then also creating those partners through making the tools available. And we've had some communities where, Jasper, Alabama, we actually had a downtown jewelry store that took the logo and created a necklace out of the icon. There are all kinds of things. We've had Afghans, we have kind of a list or closet of crazy things that people have created. Just finding different ways that businesses can kind of connect with it. Coffee shops making coffee mugs that people can buy and use.
Actually, in Jasper, they used the Main Street Flourish brand and made it into a coffee brand as well. So they're using theirs throughout, so that you can buy Flourish coffee or you can buy Tallulah coffee, which is dark and fruity, which is funny if you're familiar with Tallulah at all. So,
I guess my question was more like logistics. So what I hear you saying is members of the community have to go through your company?
no, go through Main Street.
Main
Go
Street.
through
The local Main Street
okay,
brand.
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Main Street's the keeper of the resources, and literally with a single request, everything can be accessed through that one web link. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's one of the beautiful things about this. This is a toolbox that literally is the communities, is the Main Street organizations, and we're no longer the roadblock or the stumbling block to implementation. We really tried to create something that's very, very easy to make available. Any other questions or thoughts? Yes, sir.
I want to make my statement again, because being familiar with the branding process, this 3 days that we spent with you guys who are working on the project, I'm used to thinking about what it would cost in order to buy what you have done in these 3 days. Now, I know that Main Street, ultimately Alabama, is paying you for this work, but this is 3 days worth of work that comes to a template that is usable and exercisable immediately. That would be a very expensive undertaking if Main Street or Payne had to buy that themselves. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think a lot of that, that's a huge testament to Main Street, Alabama and the services that they provide to their communities, but it also is a testament to your involvement and your energy. I have to be honest, my work is reflective of the feedback and input that I received from the community. And the more enthusiastic you are about your place, the more I like what I end up creating. And I can tell you, I create some stuff that I'm not particularly pleased with, but it's what you get, you know what I mean? It's like people have to be a part of it. And I picked up on a tremendous amount of enthusiasm and momentum in this community. I would say it's almost cautious momentum, where it's like we don't want to throw too many parties yet because we know we still have work left to do, but we're really excited about the path that we're on, and that made us excited as well. Yes, sir.
On your logo, on this slide,
Mhm.
the mountains are different than the logo on the shirt. And that there's an awful lot of white on the shirts and caps as opposed to, mostly green. Are you gonna have, the basic logo, but some interchange?
Absolutely. In the logo package that we created, there are probably close to 30 different variations depending on the way that they're being implemented. So you've got that variation that you need depending on the use. Sometimes if you're screen printing something, those dynamics are going to call for one look versus if you're printing it versus if you're using digital. So there's a pretty versatile package of variations there, and I think the organization knows as well. If they hit a point where, hey, we don't know exactly what to do, that's one of the things the board was asking earlier. They had a couple different variants and they were saying, what should we do in this circumstance? So feeling out that implementation is something that it just takes a little getting used to because it is a new tool, but I think that there's a lot of stuff in there for them to start with.
So if you'd like, we can pull up the style guide and kind of show you the different things that he's talking about. I think you got a question here and then one back over here.
And just to add on, and I'm sorry I was late.
That's fine.
Terrible rainstorm coming from Albertville. This is beautiful. I love the fact that you're not trying to pack 50 pounds in a 10-pound sack by telling each story, interchangeable photos and things like that. It's fantastic. Going along with what Dr. Brewer said, because Fort Payne is kind of known with the black and gold colors, could the colors in the style also be interchanged, or is that a set example?
No, there is some versatility in there. There are one color gold versions and there are one color brown versions. But I think one of the big things that you always have to be mindful of as well is a lot of times communities feel like their identities are derived from their high school colors.
Right.
And although inherently there's a tremendous amount of local pride that comes from the high school colors, there are also long-standing rivalries that are derived from those. So we wanted to make sure that we were both sensitive to some of those original colors that we knew had value, but also created a more robust palette. So we didn't necessarily exclude, because I'll tell you to this day, my rival high school was blue and yellow, and then I went to the University of South Carolina and we hate Clemson, so orange and purple.
Sure.
A little bit, when you see certain colors, it's just like, oh. So you got to make sure that you've got that versatility. But yes, one color versions are available, and being able to have those different builds based off what you're going to use them for.
And black and gold is a pretty standard color combination for high schools in Alabama. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I think all but one of the communities we've done it in colors have been black and gold, so we didn't want to give everybody just black.
Did you copyright this logo for Main Street?
So the way that the apparent, when you go through and you create a logo like this, there's a copyright upon creation, an inherent copyright. Now, the thing, when you start to walk down the road of trademarking the logo, which you've got about a $400 federal trademark fee plus the attorney fees of filling out the paperwork, and to be completely honest, I've done this for 15 years. A community this size is never going to be able to prove damage the way that you have to in a legal setting. The best thing in the world that you can do is take that inherent copyright, and what we've actually done in the style guide is we have signed over our creative copyright to the Main Street organization. So the Main Street organization possesses the inherent copyright on the artwork, and arm yourself with a really nice nasty gram from a lawyer, and that's going to be pretty much the best that you can do to protect yourself, because you have to prove that financial damage. We found that doesn't really happen very often.
Well, you got a merchant in town, and he's going to mark his own baseball caps and shirts, and he's going to put the logo on, go down and get a string place to print them up.
Yep.
At his expense and everything, which is good for Fort Payne too.
Right.
Gets the message out.
Yep.
Is that okay? And if they
Absolutely.
want-
In my mind, absolutely. The more people that use
Stuff like
it,
that, put the little logo on.
absolutely.
Because what you were saying is this is for the community
Exactly.
to use, so it's not saying only Main Street can use it or
Exactly.
something. It's for
Exactly.
everyone to so that everyone sees a standard across the board for the community in general?
Yeah, the Main Street organization obviously would want to be a little more restrictive with their own logo and their own identity. They want to control that, but absolutely, the community owns this. And the more people that use it, the more value that it has.
We just like for them to stay within the color palette and
Yeah.
just maybe let us look at something and maybe track some of the marketing.
Absolutely. That's two of the big things that we always tell folks is when you make the resources available, ask for a very simple report of what annual sales might look like if they are selling merchandise, and then if they are integrating it into marketing, if they can give us a rough estimate on what they've invested in marketing. So then that way, with this one effort, you start to see where the investment for Main Street, Alabama can now be shown to leveraging actual private sector sales and leveraging private sector marketing dollars. So,
Okay, this is the last question, because he's got it. I'm sorry. This is the last.
When you had the text that you were reading off, it
Yep.
said Fort Payne was original. You got Will and Steve.
Mhm.
Where did that name come? I've never heard that.
yeah, it's if you go back and you look on the history before it was known as Wills Valley,
Willstown.
it was, so the Cherokee, that was a very, very typical naming nomenclature. So like if you move closer towards North Carolina, you'll see like Solly, and apparently from that family line of Will, go back to his original Cherokee name was actually Willis. So,
Well, it's all, Willstown is where it's always been known, and all over.
yeah, I can guarantee you I wouldn't make it up. Yeah, it's I'm not that creative, but I think one of the interesting things, because that was brought up when we read the brand statement on the first visit, and I have to be honest, you know, I found it with me doing research in the 3 days that I was here. I think it's an interesting story, and if it's something you've never heard before, I think those are the kind of springboards for conversation that a community brand should have. Being able to dig deeper and really know. And you know what? If it's completely and totally wrong, we'll edit that for free, I guarantee you. But I'm pretty solid with the stuff where we found it. So
I'm kind of on the same thing. I was on the landmarks board, and we have tons of stuff on Willstown going back.
I'll send over the
So
documentation.
you're saying it's a Cherokee word?
It's Cherokee name, yeah.
That's what they called it, because and I've got documentation back in the 1700s, even that shows it as Willstown then.
Okay.
You know. So
Yeah.
It's kind of puzzling me.
Well, let's give Ben a hand and let him go. Okay, we will stand for questions, and we also do have the brand touch thing if you'd like to ask some additional questions. Again, this is a service that Main Street, Alabama pays for all of our communities. This is the 5th or 6th one that we have done, and all the communities have done a really good job of kicking it off and showing different ways of allowing the community to use the community brand as well as the destination brand compared to the organizational brand. So if you want to have questions about what other communities have done, be happy to answer those, or I guess we have a video we want to show too.
Yes.
But if you have any more questions about this before we switch over, let me know. You are welcome when you look at the brand statement. Seriously, if you have questions on it, they'll change it. It's not a huge deal. But they're really good about doing their research. But the guys already have some of their shirts on, and I couldn't be more proud at how you've already kicked out the initial brand already. And I showed pictures of it to my staff, and I've already got like 8 orders. So you're going to have people want to wear those shirts. One of the things we actually talked about, we had a new Main Street Director orientation yesterday. One of the other Main Street Directors says, what you really need to do is get the color Fort Payne one that says Fort Payne, Alabama with the mountains on it, and do them into stickers, decals that people can put on the back of their RVs, because that's a big deal. And put it on magnets. So people will use, there's lots of different ways to use this.
Endless. Yep.
Any more questions on this part? They have cake. If you don't leave before they serve cake, guys, seriously, there's a lot of cake. Okay. You wanted to come talk about yours, and I'll pull up the video.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yo, no, John Durson, y'all. Hey, you been to New York? Y'all wait for this. What y'all see this? This is awesome.
Some of you have seen this already. So January 31st, we had a board training meeting at Little River Canyon National Preserve, and one of our guest speakers, there's 5 or 6 guest speakers, one of them was Bill Dinan, who is the account representative to Intermark Corporation. He holds the state contract for Sweet Home Alabama and does all their promotion, video, and ad campaign. So, because we were included in this ad campaign in New York City, which is the 3rd year for it. Last year they did the beach. The beach was so successful, all the international guests and New Yorkers said, I didn't think Alabama had a beach. So we showed them a real sugar sand beach live in action in New York. It was a set. And this year, because of our board training meeting, Bill Dinan went back to our state director, Lisa Intel, and said, you know, we ought to really do the mountains this year. But he loved Little River Canyon because he got the tour. So he went back and Lee said, absolutely. So we now, New Yorkers and international guests know we got a beach. Now they know that that we have a mountain, and there were elements to this campaign. Went all week. And Lisa Intel was nice enough to send me up there as a state ambassador for the project. So at Madison Square Garden, anybody been to Madison Square Garden? Okay, 20-story building on the corner of 34th and 8th Street, a 20-story high picture of Little River Canyon National Preserve. So you see.
I talked to someone today, they asked me if I knew you, they said that they knew somebody they'd never been seen that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's up from June 2nd to July 2nd, so it's still up right now. But it's lit at night, and it's very visible from, I mean, you can see the thing 9 or 10 blocks down the road. So it's extremely visible, and first of all, it's at Penn Station. So all the trains that come out at Madison Square Garden, they come up to the road to get taxis up there. The street content of people on the road at any given time is thousands, day and night. Everybody's seen this. So Sandra Paget at Kamama's in Menton said, she wrote I put it on my Facebook, she said, a green spot in the gray jungle. And she's right. So the other elements were Little River Canyon at the Flatiron Building at Herald Square. The production company built a lookout mountain with a Little River Canyon scene. So what you did, on the back of it, there's about 8 steps. You walk up the steps and you put on a set of 360-degree goggles, a goggle headset. And in that video that you see, so you're standing with the goggles on, and you're going like this, and you're looking all around, you are floating, literally floating above Little River Canyon. No airplane in the picture, no window, you're just there. And you do 360 as you go, you see the water, you see the cliffs, you see the waterfalls, you see the stream running south, and as you look down, you're literally standing on the top of the green lush forest. When you look up, you got sky. So when they saw this, then afterwards they could go and have their picture taken at Lookout Mountain, and they emailed them their picture with Sweet Home Alabama in New York on it. And you wouldn't believe it. We did, the production company did a lot of B-roll video, which happens to be on my Facebook. But these people were from all over the world. You know, there's 8 million New Yorkers. So, but beyond that, there's hundreds of thousands of visitors there at all times, and many of them are international. So they just loved it. They couldn't, I can't believe Alabama is this green. I can't believe you got a canyon. I can't believe you have a mountain. Well, they did the same thing with the beach. So very highly successful. They also, on Wednesday night, they did a media conference for New York television stations and all the CBS, NBC, and ABC. And they did the Alabama craft breweries. So they had the Alabama craft breweries represented. That was a private event, it wasn't public, but the media got it. And then in Times Square on Wednesday, they had a mobile float. And at the float, they had a jazz band. They had some costume dancers. And so it was one event kind of after another, but we were very fortunate to be featured this much with that much content, to have the sign on the side of the building and the miniature. The line was significant enough. This is after we were supposed to have been closed down. So from base 10 in the morning till 5 is when it was supposed to shut down, but this is at 6. And there's still a good line there. So people, and this is under the theme, outdoors, Alabama, Sweet Home Alabama. And there's the Lower River Canyon picture.
So we're gonna be able to get there in Virginia?
You want, they were looking for somewhere to put it.
For it.
They were trying to figure out as we left.
Who's getting the 20-story
They
banner?
literally.
To put that in Birmingham.
Okay.
Good question.
Okay, so this is a 30-second commercial on all CBS, ABC, NBC, and Fox Raycom affiliates, right now.
Those first steps, when root meets earth. The river water whispers its secrets to the loblolly pines. Branches sway in the breeze, framed by a bright blue sky. And there's that feeling that you've arrived. This is Alabama, and when you're here, you can take it all in.
Wow.
How about that?
Thank you.
All right.
Don't let that do anything more.
So on the brand touch, and I know this is all blown out, but the things that they give you are the advertising, the collateral, the colors, the fonts, the logo resources. So if you wanted to do t-shirts and banners, they give it to you in EPS, Illustrator, JPEG, PDF, and PNG. So they give it to you in everything that you need. It's one of the best. They also, full-on style guides I've ever seen, and that they give you all their photography too. They took some great pictures while they were here. All of this is yours. You can use their photography in anything. You do not have to reference Arnett Muldrow. You don't have to reference Main Street, Alabama. It's really nice if you mention every once in a while that we didn't pay for it all. We do appreciate that. But this is all for you to use as you need to use it in your community. They also have the presentations in here, so that will allow the Main Street board members to go out and do what I call the rubber chicken circuit, if you want to take it to the Rotary Club or other places and show them just what he showed you a little bit ago, which is a short, abbreviated version to just let people know how cool is this and how proud we should be of what you have here in Fort Payne. I was here last weekend for the Alabama concert and just a little bit of a goof-off time. And it's just, every time I come to Fort Payne, I'm just taken by how beautiful it is here. How well-run that activity was this last weekend. From a former Main Street director's viewpoint, it's like, it's clean, everybody's happy, they know where they're going, the police are where the police should be, it's well managed. And that was not even going to the fan club piece. This was downtown activities. You guys have a lot going on here for you in Fort Payne. Sometimes you might need somebody from the outside to say, how cool is Fort Payne? I'm here to tell you, you're really cool. So utilize this, push it forward, use it as much as you can in the community. Use the Main Street brand, which I like the tightly woven perfect fit. I thought that was a wonderful tagline for you guys too. So this is given to Tim as the Main Street director. So you have the style guide with more information, and then it's also all available electronic. So you guys can push it out in whatever way you want to push it out. As a board, I think you should just make sure people tell you what they're doing with it. It's nice for you to know as a Main Street organization what your brand's being used for, but everybody should be able to use it. All right, any other questions on this part of it, or is it time to go eat cake?
Cake.
It's time for cake? All right, thank you guys very